do something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
What the f is that, dude?
Well, howdy, folks, and welcome back to the bus. It's how life goes, and hope your day is going pretty good. It's the end of the week. Woohoo! Well, maybe not for you, but certainly for most people, the end of the week, and with a little bit of luck, you've got some nice stuff planned out for the weekend. Fingers crossed it all works in your favour. We've been having some connection issues, so I'm recording now this part of the show because, well, my guest couldn't be with us tonight, but he will prove an interesting talking point for the beginning of the evening, I am sure. He's known and loved by many of you, but he's known simply as Bob. Hello, Bob. How are you, mate? I'm good, mate. Long time no talk. Long time no talk. Yeah, it happens, doesn't it? But it's just part of what goes on in the world, I guess. Life does get in the way, and sometimes presents us with the odd hurdle or two. It's good to see that we're both climbing those hurdles and going for the next one. So good to have you back on the show, mate. So I've had I've had a sheep load of email about you. People saying, "When are you getting Bob back? When are you getting Bob back? Get Bob back on." Uh, they're very keen to learn more of the secrets of Bob. It must be that deeply sexy, husky voice that you have. It has an effect on you. So, well, g'day. Something real weird's going on, folks. Can't hear Bob. And that's weird for a recorded piece that's downloaded everything. Okay. Been saying connection issues have been a bit of a problem. So let me just turn that down. And I'm getting a delayed feed of all of this from somewhere, which is making life very interesting. So just let me know if you can hear me in the chat, and we'll see how far that goes. Carl's imaginary friend. Thank you, JJ. Appreciate that. Really weirded out as to why this would be the case. I'm just going to have a look at this file. Maybe I've loaded the wrong file, or this is quite strange. Let me just... Wow. Okay. I think StreamYard, for some reason, when I recorded this today, has split my feed and Bob's feed into two separate feeds rather than one where I'd have his voice and my voice on the one audio track. It seems it's done it for some reason rather differently. There are some weird shit things happening. Okay, JJ, thank you. You can still hear me. That will mean that Bob will not be a participant tonight. I will have to go to work after the show tonight and put the audio and the video together for that. And I'll need an audio edit program to do that. And we did talk for 48 odd minutes, and I'm really sorry to build your hopes up, because I know many of you were looking forward to talking to Bob. We will talk a little bit about what Bob spoke about in tonight's show, and the Galactic Larrikins will be joining me, and possibly, I say possibly because it may not happen, Becchio from Truth Seekers might join us as well. There is some personal stuff going down with one of our extended family, if you like. There is a member of the family in Melbourne, if you like, who you've seen on here, know here, and she has a very, very dear, close personal friend who's suffered a terrible tragedy today with the loss of a 15-year-old daughter to suicide. Now, don't know all the facts about this just yet, but it seems, or it appears at least some point, that this has been part of some sort of new teenage dare kind of trend. How close can you go, sort of thing. I don't know how new this is, but clearly, how close can you go? Where do you win here? When you wake up, or if you don't wake up? It's pretty tragic, unbelievably tragic, in fact. So thoughts are with the extended family. I'm not familiar with the ins and outs of what's gone on, or whether or not even the followers of Voice of Freedom, but certainly one of the people very closely affected by this is a dear friend of this show and me, and my heart goes out to her and to those people close to her as they go through this terribly awful time. Now, if you have teenagers, talk to them about this, see whether or not they've heard anything about this, because it is truly a frightening thing to behold. If that is in fact borne out to be true, that it is some form of dare game that teenagers are playing, or in fact they're being encouraged through a website or something, well, that's something else we're going to need to look at, and I'm sure we'll hear more details over the next week or two. But a terribly sad event, and if you've got teenagers, talk to them. Youth suicide is a real thing, particularly at the behest of their parents. Many young women and young men are going and seeking fertility testing. Now, these, when I say young men and women, these are 18 to 20-year-olds who are going in to test their fertility levels. Now, as you would expect in 18 to 20-year-olds, a fairly high fertility rate. But so far, there's been some shocking news from a number of families that have sent email regarding this, that fertility rates in their children are dropping significantly. Mobility is the issue in the males, and I'm not completely sure what the problem is with the females, but women's things. However, fertility is dropping across the board in our young people. That's something we need to be, pretty aware of and ready to try and combat. And how do you combat that? Make more kids, I guess, and hope they grow up smarter than these ones. And it's not a matter of saying smarter than these ones. These kids have been programmed right from the word go, and we have been programmed to let their programming be easier, be done easier, be more accepted. We don't put up the resistance at home that we once did. We certainly don't put the values into our children that we once did. When I'm using the we here, I'm using the collective we. I'm not accusing individuals, and particularly you folks who are watching. And at the end of the day, you can only do the best you can do as a parent. If it is the best you can do and your kid still turns out to be a thief or to be a horrible human being or to, run off and commit, major crimes, well, if you've done everything you can do to, teach them right from wrong and everything else, then it comes down to decisions, and those decisions made by the individual, which they will find there are consequences for, as many do. All those ones locked up in jail at the moment would be a good start. So, yeah, not a good thing. Donna, I've just seen endometriosis in women has gone through the roof. Yep, my daughter suffers from that quite terribly, and I'm not sure she's meant to. Be having some form of surgery about it, but obviously we're all a bit concerned about all things surgical. There is no escaping this shit, though. They're getting it into us in every which way possible, from what we eat, what we drink. They spray it on us. It's in our water. It's everywhere. So, yeah, no good. All right, I see the Galactic Larrikins have bailed in, which is a bloody good sign. I'll say hello to a few people before I introduce the Larrikins. Paul was first in tonight. Paul Revere, and Toxic Q. Jack, good to have you guys in early. Margot, too. Daniel, always an early riser with us. Margot, I said. Baz, J1's in. Macca. Angela, how are you? I hope you're doing okay. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I love listening to Bob, too. I have no idea. It's downloaded 2 files. I've loaded the video file, which has my image on it, and then Bob didn't have an image, you see. This might be the problem, and he's still hiding behind the veil of, well, his veil. And I don't know. There's a few things that have changed in StreamYard since I last recorded something, and shit, maybe that's a biggie. But I do have his audio. I've just got to put it all together. At least I think I do. It looks like I do. So I'll go and put 2 files together and see what we get. The lovely Michelle Bradley Smith, nice to have you in the room, and always a welcome moderator to our family. Although there's not too much moderating, it has to be. Bergworth, there's the strange man. Haven't heard of you or seen of you in a little while, my friend. I hope things are going well. The trip to Tassie was fruitful. Poppy season. Did you happen to see the purple fields? Spring Tree, nice to have you in. DM Peter, nice to have you in, buddy. From Pinnaroo, and g'day Phil. Stuart, Angelina, Sandy, you lovely thing. How are you and the donkeys going? I hope all terribly well. Haven't got any more pregnancies on the way, have we? Not getting another May anytime soon. Love that. And so would you guys, I know. Although, I don't know, you've probably got 550 donkeys on your place right now. Of course, Sandy runs the Australian Donkey Sanctuary, folks. I won't tell you where, but it's a fabulous, fabulous facility. And God love her. She treats those animals as they are her own children. Because most of them are, adopted-wise. She and Baz, wonderful, wonderful man, built like the proverbial Baz, like a red gum. Lovely people. I did have the photo of Baz and May up when she was a baby. I did have that in the system here for a long time, but it's gone the way of so many others. All right, so I'll get down to the end there. Destroying testosterone by design. Yep, you're 100% right. How many times can they hear the word no? Well, ads, they can hear the word no a lot. Remember, the whole country voted no to The Voice, and what have we got in the states all around Australia? The Voice. So, yeah, no fun. All right, without further ado, let me introduce 2 of the nicest blokes going around. They probably are a bit sweaty at the moment, but we'll go with them. They may or may not have. They haven't bothered turning the lights on, though. They've got the torch out reading. Hello, boys.
Oh, okay, mate. Oh, geez. You said we were going to be on at like 7:15.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, well, I said a lot of things. I said Bob was going to be talking for 48 minutes, but nobody could hear Bob. They could only hear me. And trust me, I had nothing to say compared to what Bob had to do. So, yeah, very, very difficult indeed. So I'm sorry to spring it on you, but I did see you sitting there. So I thought.
We're obviously half listening, but we're also just discussing the new acts
Oh, the new axe.
Well, Fixers or whatever. What is it called?
Fisker? Something like that.
It's not a fister.
From Finland. Oh, it's back to front. Oh.
And mate, get this right. They've been making these things since 1649. This is a company that is 300 plus years old.
Yeah.
It's got to be something good there, eh?
Yeah.
Wow. So hang on a minute. Is it a wooden axe handle?
No, it's like carbon fiber or something. It's really light, and it's got obviously this is heavy. And look at it. It's made from this space age material that's like got no grip on it. So it goes straight through the log. No effort at all.
And the wedge
Teflon coated hammer. Is that sort of like, it's an axe, not a wood splitter?
Yeah, well,
it's a splitting axe.
Yeah.
To be exact.
See, it's quite...
I have exactly the thing for use for it.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Hey, you actually got a fire happening. We've got a fire.
I have. In fact, I've just got to glance out the window and make sure it hasn't set the rest of the place on fire. But it seems to have died down to a small. This was probably an hour or so ago. I filmed that, and I thought, well, we can sit around the campfire and chat. But yours is a bit more self-contained, and inside. I have absolutely no benefit of this fire whatsoever because it's outside. And
no,
I could have taken the laptop outside, I suppose, and started the fire. But knowing my luck, I'd have placed myself straight into the smoke area and been coughing in your faces all night, which wouldn't have been fun.
No,
well, maybe Yogi
no
Bear
fun.
Will put it out.
Yeah. So now Beck Freedom is in the room. Now, Beck is... hello, Beck. I love you. One of the best axes ever used for chopping wood. Amazing quality and great to swing.
Hey,
Beck,
we got the right one there.
Yep.
Yeah, we did a bit of research on YouTube, University of YouTube. Bruce just cut himself already on the axe.
It's sharp.
So, we haven't even cut a piece of wood. Injury.
Well, it's blooded now. It's blooded.
Yeah.
Look out.
It's got the thirst now.
It's true finish
knows
now.
what blood tastes like.
It's a Viking axe.
Yeah, literally.
Haven't you got a Viking hat around there somewhere? It wouldn't fit on your head, Bear, with that hair, but
No, but I like Scott T. I love your comment, mate. Love a swinger. Okay.
A swinger. Bit of a double entendre there, isn't he?
I ain't going there. Segue.
Breaking up.
So, boys, without Bob in the house to give us our starting points to talk about tonight, and I don't want to steal the associated thunder from Bob with a lot of what he spoke about, but he did reveal in this chat that part of what he was doing and working for the military was working as a remote viewer.
Excellent.
Now,
indeed,
remote viewing is I believe it's a trait that can be taught. Certain people, I guess, can do it better than others. And when I rang you to see whether or not you guys would be involved in tonight's show and said, you'll never guess what, Bob was a remote viewer, you guys went, oh, yeah, we did that course.
Done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I did a few years ago in Sydney as part of what would you call it, an expo or whatever, convention that was organised by the Edge of Wonder crew.
If you remember them.
If you remember those guys, and Jordan Sather and and, what was his name? Anyway, there's quite a few of them that came out.
It's coming to me.
Yeah. Anyway, part of it, one of the options was this workshop, this remote viewing workshop. So there was about probably a dozen or so of us that did this class, and one of the exercises that we did was to remote view a certain place or event, right? And all that they give you is a number. And so you basically write that number down and, without going all the way into it, you start just clearing your mind, and whatever the first thoughts come in associated with that number, you start writing it down. So we all did that. and it was quite amazing because the majority of the people in the room said very similar stuff. And they were talking about water and sails, massive, big sails. What else? And then that someone was talking about, this one person was talking about Aboriginal designs and that sort of stuff. And so anyway, it turns out that the thing that we were viewing was the Sydney Opera House all lit up with Aboriginal colours. With, like one of those events, whatever, Indigenous Week or whatever they have. And so everyone basically described it with different views, like it's like the blind men with the elephant, like they're all getting a different view of the one thing, and you put it all together and it creates the big picture.
Paul has a very good question. Can someone remote view the Melbourne Cup?
Technically they could, yes.
Yeah. But
it's hard to pick time frames. A lot of the big examples, so someone did ask for remote viewing. We'll probably get to a quick explanation of that in a moment. But it was back in the sort of 90s we first came about it. It was the Monroe Institution, and you did this Hemi-Sync thing, the CDs back in those days, and you had to have headphones on because it had your left and right speakers doing different things and doing that sort of stuff. That was pretty cool.
Yep.
It was declassified just recently. It's called Project Stargate. And that was the CIA's big remote viewing thing. I think Paul was commenting that came across from the Germans in Operation Paperclip. There was, I think, Monroe and some of the original ones who were the big remote viewers at the time. But they had incredible, if you read the declassified Stargate project report, it says they had incredible success, but decided to shut it down.
Yeah.
They changed the project name, in other words.
Yeah.
Do a lot.
And it just went deeper and darker. Yeah, true. Well, he said, without giving true examples of, because he's not allowed to talk about what he was viewing, obviously. But he gave an example of a murder committed in a hotel room. A remote viewer could, this is, to talk to people about, go to some way explaining what remote viewing is able to do. They could go to the room the murder was committed in sometime after the crime had been committed, and sit in that room, and within 10 minutes or so be in a not a trance, but in a meditative state where they are in tune with the frequencies of the room, and there is no timeline. They can shift themselves much easily more backward in time than they can forward, but it is possible to follow a person after they've committed a crime by remote viewing and track them that way. So, and I get the feeling that for at least 12 months or so, he was hopping around Europe doing remote viewing on all sorts of things that he obviously can't talk about. But I will fix this interview. God help me. Don't know what the hell's gone down where I can't download it, but I know I can't jump out of this. And
building up suspense. That's the radio disc jockey in you, mate. Just building up suspense, dropping in teasers.
Coming soon.
That's me. Yeah. We also spoke a bit about geopolitics, what's going on in the world at the moment. So I guess I stole your thunder in that interview, which we haven't heard yet. So your thunder hasn't been stolen, Bear. There are a couple of things that we discussed. What's going on at the moment in Cuba with Russian warships and submarines, as it turns out, is pretty interesting. And just to give you a bit of an idea, folks, that is a Russian submarine pulling into Havana Harbor in Cuba for a 4-day visit, along with a number of other ships. There were 4 surface ships that came in as well. There are another 8 surface ships somewhere in smaller islands around Cuba or waiting to come in. and there is at least one more submarine. What were they doing? Well, they'd been down in that part of the world doing exercises for their high precision missiles, read hypersonic missile. Now, I hadn't put it together, Bear, until you started talking about it this morning. So I'll let you pick the story up. Why are the Russians in Cuba?
Right, great question. This actually extended from always important when the media is all going crazy about something. And if you remember on a few days ago, the media was going crazy that Hunter Biden was actually convicted. And while that was all going on and everyone was distracted about the Hunter Biden bullshit, BS, sorry for kids, what actually happened was that Joe Biden approved Zelensky firing US weapons into Russia. Prior to this, he could only shoot the European and NATO weapons inside of Ukraine territory. But Biden gave him a green light to go ahead to shoot US missiles into, or precision-guided munitions into Russia. This is a huge escalation in the war. And Putin, being the actual adult in the room, he could have gone nuclear, but said, okay, right, well, you're using proxy countries to attack us, so we're going to do the same. So he has armed Cuba and Venezuela. Venezuela hasn't really been talked about much, but those ships are also going to Venezuela, and he is then giving them hypersonic missiles. He's doing the same thing, basically. He's giving them a proxy country their weapons, then saying, oh, well, man, if they do something, that's not us. Yeah, that's what America did with Ukraine. But what it's actually done then is these hypersonic missiles, and remember from the Ukraine war, or it's actually the World War in Ukraine, Russia is now the only country, there's only two countries at the moment with hypersonic missiles, that's China and Russia. And Russia's the only one that's battle-tested the munitions. They've actually worked, they use them, and they cannot, Ukraine cannot shoot them down, or NATO cannot shoot them down. And if they launch a hypersonic missile from Cuba, it will hit the White House in 12 minutes, and they cannot evacuate the president in that time period. So basically, Putin is putting Biden under the thumb, saying, mate, if you attack me, you're done. So
we're a bit under the impression that nobody's in the White House anyway, though. It's just going to be left a big smoking hole in the ground.
Probably. It's like, again, as you said, you can track everything. There's satellites. That's what the whole, if you watch the Ukraine war, everything's done by satellites, and they can see everything that's going on. So they know where Biden is, or anyone. Like, it's not, Biden is just a puppet. It's, all of the politicians who are now all of a sudden realize, oh, we're under the thumb, so we're under the gun, so that changes the rules a little bit. Hello, Vince.
I'm just gonna wait and see how long he comes on before he realizes he's on.
Great backdrop.
Yeah, really good backdrop.
In the World War, and luckily Putin is trying to at least be the adult in the room and trying to keep it under control. But obviously, the whatever you want to call it, the Biden cabal, the establishment are keen for war, because as if you saw Lindsey Graham the other day, again, same thing when the media was going crazy over Hunter Biden, actually came out and admitted the truth. What's the Ukraine war about? Between 10 and 12 trillion dollars of resources, and they want them, and they do not want China and Russia to have them. And that's what the Ukraine war is over. He said it very explicitly. No hard drives. $12 trillion worth of resources. We want them, and we don't want Russia and China to get them. Simple as that.
And before we get in to discuss that a bit further, I want to introduce Becky from Truth Seekers. She has found the time to join us tonight. Oh no, you're muted, Dale. Can't hear you. Got to push that weird
Sorry,
button.
I was just watching and I thought, no worries, I'll jump in. How you going?
Yeah, good. Thank you very much for joining us. I know it's been a trial day for you guys, so love to everybody involved down there. I hope it. Well, what do you say? But yeah. All right. So I think Bear, you've raised.
Could I just put in a disclaimer / warning about remote viewing? It's an ability that we've all got. Okay, we all have it. Obviously, that was demonstrated to me in that class where everyone basically said, tuned in on the same wavelength. Now, the things that I worry about remote viewing is that if you're not strong-minded or spiritually evolved enough, you could be inviting demons in. Okay, it's like doing seances and Ouija boards and stuff like that. So it's not something that everyone should go out and do, I don't think. So I just wanted to add
Right.
that because it's important.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your advice would be don't do this without some form of training, and Beck, you've had some experience with this too, haven't you? It's a bit of a pet subject of yours.
Yeah, I have a bit of training. I get a gentleman from Holland, Peter Lightwork. He gets me on and does some training sessions with me, and he's pretty good mates with Charlie Ward and a few of the other guys. So he does exactly what the larrikins were saying, gets us to visualize and think about certain things, and it's pretty incredible what you can do with your body and your mind. So yeah, I'm also on the Munro Institute as well.
Yep. Cool.
I've been on that for a number of years, and there's some free things there for people to do, but yeah, you've got to be very, very careful on how you do tackle this. You have to make sure you've got training in it, and yeah, you can invite some evilness into the realm if you don't know what you're doing.
That's a good thing about
Are you
Munro.
given the tools to get rid of it again?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, he does. He teaches you to basically surround yourself with light.
Yeah.
Yourself a shield, basically, to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And visualize all that. Yeah.
It's exactly the same as when you're meditating as well. You should always, make sure you're surrounded by the white light, like a protection shield. Everyone should always do that. So it's exactly the same with Munro Institute. They work you through quite a few things.
Yeah.
It's different. Everyone's different about it, and people do experience different things. We're not all going to experience the same thing at all.
No.
So how then do you know what's being experienced is actually real?
Well, that's the training that you have to. That's the training that you have to work up to, because everyone's got that ability. Yeah, everyone's got your own unique special ability that you can tune into things. We've all got that spiritual part about us. It's just when you tune into it that you can find out what powers you really do have.
And
Paul has been visualizing Marilyn Monroe, but she hasn't turned up yet. I'm not sure if that's because he doesn't visualize hard enough, or he just hasn't been down to St. Vinny's to buy the dress he needs to wear to help show it up. Let your inner Marilyn out, Paul.
You're also Paul. You're trying to enforce how that will show up in your life, where you're just putting intention out for Marilyn Monroe, and as you said, that could just mean that next time you go put a movie on, all of a sudden it'll be Marilyn Monroe or something like that. Or that you're trying to say, I want her physically to turn up. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
no,
also
that
when exactly. When you're talking about the connection of it with remote viewing, in today's sort of physics understanding, I would say it's very much like the quantum aspect, where you're getting into that superposition state, and therefore it's like you know everything, or you have access to all universal knowledge, or however spiritually you want to put it. But in a quantum physics state, it's that superposition, that quantum state.
And like anything, it's like exercising a muscle. The more you do it, the better you get. That's why people like Bob, for example, would have been trained and been able to hone that skill to be able to make it very reliable and focused.
Well, certainly.
Which just talking about the quantum state and where we're up with, say, quantum computers now. And just recently, I think it was MIT, I'm going to go with MIT in America, they're talking about now that a quantum computer can access its future self, so can communicate with its future self. And that is looking glass technology. But 40 years ago, when we were in the 80s, when we first heard about looking glass technology, how would have anyone ever explained to you quantum physics? We had no comprehension of it back back then, so we use these terms to try and explain it. But now we can understand,
Yeah.
whoa, hang on, quantum computers can access their future and past states. They can communicate with themselves in the future. That's
That's what we've got.
that's
quantum
looking glass
computers.
technology.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, in
When our
fact,
head-
that's a bit of what Bob was talking about, Looking Glass. In fact, he alluded to the fact that part of his job, at any rate, was to track the people who were using Looking Glass. So, and try and understand where they were. He explained the operational process of how it all comes together. There's a large team of people, these two black boxes that have to be used in unison if you want audio and video. If you want to be able to see audio or hear audio and see video. And these boxes never stay more than 24 hours in one location. They're continually moved. And so are the people who are attached to them. So those people, remote viewers, are part of quite a large team, apparently, that just travel the world and keep moving. So,
Well, here's
interesting.
This is my personal theory. Think about the Roswell UFO crash or something similar, but we'll go with Roswell because everybody knows it. And instead of thinking it's aliens, it's us from the future. We've developed time travel capabilities, and we've come back in the future, come back into the past to have a look at ourselves and been shot down by a scalar weapon or whatever it is and crashed. In the recovery, they recover a quantum computer which has access to its future self and is communicating with itself. That's the Looking Glass technology.
Yeah.
However, you've now sucked yourself into a little time loop, because theoretically, if it was us coming back from the future, wouldn't that be in our history? So therefore, we should have known to dodge the bullet that shot us down in the first place?
Has to go through the first time, though.
And hence the loop. Just
Hence the
saying.
loop.
Or every time you do something like that, it creates a new universe.
A new universe,
You know,
does
there's the parallel universe, multi-universe theory.
That's right. The multiverse paradigm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm trying to find, there was a really good documentary that came out about that Venus Looking Glass. Project Looking Glass, not Venus Looking Glass. Friggin' hell.
Yeah.
The Project Looking Glass. I'm just trying to find it so I can pop it in the chat. And it
They
goes
also
back.
had like a sci-fi series, a TV series for a while too, Project Looking Glass. So it got out of the
it was.
Yeah, this one
Yeah.
was.
The one
It had to do with
that
Tesla as well. It was a story about Tesla and Trump and how they are connected as well, and how it goes to the Project Looking Glass as well. It was quite an interesting documentary someone put together.
Yeah, cool.
Trump's uncle would, or owned the hotel, but was in the hotel, managed the hotel, running the hotel when Tesla died, and
That's right.
cleaned out the safe and quite a few other papers, apparently.
And got some papers.
So there's a good question from somebody. Wouldn't the multiverse be part of the universe? Theoretically, a multiverse would be multiple universes.
Yes.
It's like you're exploding out of one at the moment with that background.
I think this is part of the reason why I don't really get into the Doctor Strange movies in the Marvel series.
Yeah.
It all gets too weird for me. I can't quite understand how the multiverse works, but I love that idea of being able to draw a circle and step through into the next one, which there are many tales of portals around the earth where just that happens. In fact, one of them is in Kazakhstan, which we're all led to believe is powered by donkeys and pig shit. When nothing could be further from the truth. It's a highly advanced city-state, and right in the middle of its capital city, right in the middle of its tallest, or the top of its tallest building, is a pyramid around which there are 300 chairs, and that would be the Committee of 300's home. So there is a portal literally floating on the river outside the window of that joint, down on the river. So some interesting things in Kazakhstan.
So Starseed says it's the time travel miracle of Nikola Tesla and John G. Trump. and that's the name of the doco.
That's it. Perfect.
There you go.
Is
Thank
that
you,
one that
Chris.
goes to the Ingersoll Watch and the Adventures of Baron Trump and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
Sab. I saw Sab in the chat saying that Bruce Sees All has got something on at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. I haven't been over to Bruce for a week or so. But Sab, put in the chat, if Bruce Sees All has got a little bit of an expose or something happening tomorrow, by all means, please plug the hell out of it. If you aren't aware of who Bruce Sees All is, he's got about the best telescopes I've ever seen online. And he is capable of looking pretty much in detail and close up at the surface of the moon. And shit, does he see some things? Like the title of his YouTube channel, Bruce Sees All. It's worthwhile popping over. So looks like Chris
His
is on the
second
hunt
channel
for
is
subscribers.
Bruce Does Magic Mushrooms.
Yeah, but that's the bloke sitting on your right that's probably hosting that show.
There are a few
That
cow
Bruce.
paddocks around. Yeah, you haven't found any mushies yet.
Mushies, though.
Not yet.
Yeah, there's a reason you bought a place in the rainforest, isn't there? It wasn't the
Oh, yeah.
seclusion.
No, totally. Yeah, perfect. It's very humid here.
Must be
Very,
growing.
very humid. Very humid. All right. Big day today. ATMs around the country were emptied out. Another cash out around Australia Day. Did you guys get involved? All of you?
Didn't know anything about it.
There's no ATMs here. We don't have any ATMs.
I didn't leave the house today. I had things
You didn't
happen,
leave the
so-
house today? Right.
No.
Vince?
I forgot about that.
Can we go
I
tomorrow?
picked up a bit of cash.
Well
I don't
done.
have
So
much
did I.
cash in my account anyway, so I've got all my cash.
I went and got all the cash out of my account. All
I would've-
$52
Oh,
of it.
10 cents? Really? Did you take the 10
No,
cents out?
I had $50. They gave me a whole note. It was great.
Wow.
So I was impressed.
What-
But
what's
at least
with that?
it's mine. It's not theirs. And interestingly enough, we were talking about the banking issues in Cuba recently, funnily enough, with the Russians coming to town. The Cubans went to bed one morning with a bank account and woke up the next morning discovering that the banks had closed and their money had been assumed by the government. That has been confirmed as happened now. So it is possible.
Wasn't that about 2 or 3 weeks ago? Cass heard about that? Is that the one?
That wasn't in Cuba. That was somewhere else, I'm led to believe. But
Okay.
actually, well, no, I can't remember. I thought it was somewhere else. But I've only read about this Cuban thing in the last week or so.
So we should be able to get some cheap Cuban cigars.
Yeah, you never know. Right, you might be able to put that in.
That's I
I
suppose.
mean, the shock is obviously too much for Carl. He's just
He's
Dark. Oh,
Oh my
we're
God.
back.
the rest of us were still here, mate, just to let you know.
I'm just having a bit of a glance at seeing what I'm connected to, and it is Starlink at the moment, which is holding up reasonably well. So that might just be a satellite passing behind the gum tree kind of moment for us. Do have a few of those moments. So Beck, you and Craig Cole have been teaming up to try and alert people more to the perils of sending your kids to school and the kind of shit that they're being taught in schools, amongst other things. It's grooming. How is the Leave Our Kids with a Z alone.org, isn't it, website going, and how's
That's
the
correct.
movement?
Yeah, it's going really, really well. Craig's doing extraordinary things. We're just starting to work on some events closer down this way, Carl, again, and also going to do some charity things as well. Can't really talk much about it, but Craig gets sent quite a few things daily from parents from schools sending him, have you seen this letter? What should I do about this letter? There's a lot of things happening at the moment for a lot of grade 5s, this Wellbeing Day. where they say it's just about, you know, teaching kids about sexuality, but then they swipe in with that transgender business that it's okay if you feel this way. We won't tell your parents, and we can make an appointment with a doctor basically to get you on hormone replacements and puberty blockers and all that sort of shit. So he's doing extraordinary stuff. He's been on, I think, the Bacchus Marsh radio last week, which was amazing. That opened up a lot of people's ears in the little country town. So basically focusing on certain towns and really spending time in those towns to really get the people to understand that it's not about if you want to be a transgender at all. We don't care about what you do as an adult. It's more to leave the kids alone, basically, and let them to decide once they're of a mature, sound mind, which apparently that's 14 or 12 these days. So
I wish.
They're fighting
even
for 8.
later. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, they're fighting to make it younger
Yeah.
again. And in some parts of the world, they're trying to lower the age of sexual consent to 6.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Which
just
is
disgusting.
particularly in European countries. Yeah.
Well, we know why that is, don't we? Like, they love little kiddies, don't they? All these deep state wankers, you know.
And the sexualization of our children in social media and other things. I got a Facebook ad pop up the other day. I'm sure it was on Facebook, where this girl said something along the lines of, it was worded in a way, it was talking about anal sex and how you should get, you know, young girls should be employing this tactic. And for a very brief second, there was a flash up of 4 or 5 different reasons why it's a good thing to take it in the bum, basically. Now they are advertising on street corners with posters for vibrators. I think Abby Chatfield's personal vibrator collection is being advertised on billboards, right beside the same posters telling people to go to church this Sunday. We are seeing a complete sexualization of content in our social media for teens, and God knows what they're seeing that I'm not. I mean, I don't know how I got to see something like that. But Facebook, particularly, I was appalled by it because they banned me for saying truth, and yet they'll allow this kind of sexualized, extreme content, I would call that, on. And
they're all behind it. That's why. They're all behind it. They love it. You know, they're sick, twisted, evil people.
Bacchus Marsh has been in the news this week again because the Bacchus Marsh Grammar School was, a number of girls were victims of an AI generated porn picture scandal.
50 girls, I think it was. Yeah, 50 girls. Yeah, their faces put onto naked bodies and sent around the school. Yeah.
Right. So how taken that news?
How did what? Sorry, you're breaking up.
How's the town taken that news?
They're disgusted, but you know, it's just the days where we live at the moment, isn't it? It's the days of what happens. You know, you want to mess around with AI and give kids control of shit like that, then of course they're going to do something with it. It's what they want. They want kids to do this. They want kids to be deceitful and act like pigs against women. You know, it's all the great plan of those higher ups. So I think it's an awakening for a lot of parents. And I think it's a great way to get leave the kids alone out into the Bacchus Marsh community too, with all this hoo-ha.
Sodom and Gomorrah.
That's right.
Gomorrah, and I've been thinking the same thing for some time now, that the world is heading to the Sodom and Gomorrah moment, where you have to make a choice, folks, whether you want to live like that, a hedonistic lifestyle where you don't have to worry about hurting anybody or anything. You just do what you do and be damn the consequences.
Well, the upside Sorry, the upside though is that we're now on the verge of this AI revolution, and anything can be used for good and bad. But the other day we saw that ChatGPT has released a sort of its assistant thing, and you're and teaching languages and all sorts of things. But it can teach anything, and it's like a better teacher than anything else.
Any other teacher. Yeah.
So perhaps that's something that my place can start looking at, is that we could actually start schools, because now we don't have to go to the expense of employing teachers. Everyone can have their own personal teacher, and you can be in a community environment and a supportive environment, and then learn social skills and sports and those sorts of things. But learning more academic things can be done through a personal AI instructor, teacher, assistant.
Who's got all the knowledge in the world, updated.
Who's controlling the information, though, guys? Who's controlling what's in the AI? That's the challenge.
It is, but at least we have some control still over it, rather than going to a public school where you're just going to be indoctrinated into whatever narrative they're pushing that suits them. Where at least you could be in an environment where you're supervising what the AI is teaching. But if you're just doing fundamentals of maths and languages and things like that, skills, then surely that's got to be a better system than relying on the government indoctrination system.
So can I just ask you all about your feelings on AI? Because we had this conversation today where the larrikins made a good argument for using some AI tools for video editing and this, that, and the other thing. And I explained that I was reasonably resistant to using AI, at which point they basically called me a Luddite and I was going to die. And I should pull my head out of my ass and give it a go. Vince, AI and our future, what are your thoughts?
AI is a scary, scary, scary proposition. I think it's a lot more advanced than we believe it to be. However, Isaac Amerforth, what was the name of the guy? He said that basically you need to create the first rule for any computer thing is harm no humans. So
Isaac Asimov, you're talking about the
that's
rules for robots.
Yeah. So I'm an IT guy, and I know where it can go, and it's well, let's just say Terminator is a really good movie.
Exactly.
Right, all of them.
Yeah, and on that subject, you've got to look at that and go, okay, well, let's look at society. Let's look at the mainstream media. Let's look at Hollywood. What does Hollywood want us to think about AI? They want us to be afraid. They want us to think, oh, Terminator's coming. Oh, no, everything's going to be bad, bad, bad. Well, when I look at what Hollywood's trying to tell me, I often think that the opposite is actually true.
Probably true, yeah.
So I'm not really that afraid of AI.
No.
I think, yes, we have to be very cautious of it, and we have to be careful in the way that it's developed. But I think that's already happening. I think people are. And when you look at some of the answers that you get from these AIs, they are pretty pro-human.
Yeah. And Elon is making that exact argument at the moment. He's saying that the AI is learning from our culture and all of our stuff. So we have to be careful, because there's two distinctive camps. The cabal establishment, whatever you want to call it, they're literally extinctionists. They think that humans are bad and destroying the environment. If the AI learns that, then they'll view us as bad, and that's not what we want. So it's very important to program the AI to, as you said. But
so the question is, who's currently in control of that particular AI that they're programming? It wouldn't happen to be the very cabal that we don't want them to.
Yeah, that's where I have Elon. That's why I have Elon's one of the good guys, but he's pushing for all of this. But when we take it still back to the basics, one, it's a tool, and it's out. The genie's out of the bottle. There's no putting it back. So it's now you either have to adapt or die. We have to be the ones to actually get in there first. And I would argue that the freedom movement has the ability now to do something that they couldn't do before. We can move faster and use this technology and this AI to start putting out mass messaging and all of these things and swamp the traditional political party, because they're dinosaurs. They will not be able to catch up in time. We have the ability right now to actually use all of these tools and to take it to our advantage and move the system. But we are the ones who actually have to decide to do it. But it's an incredible...
I think it's a load of shit. I think it's a really bad thing. I don't like it.
Out of the bottle.
They want you to think that.
It eliminates human risk. It's it takes away humans' jobs. It's going to make the world
humans lazy.
We do not need jobs. Jobs are ridiculous. Most of the jobs right now.
We don't need jobs now. If they hurry up and put all this shit and make the med beds or whatever they're going to do happen, AI can do whatever they want to do, and we can live on our little farms and hug our trees and stuff.
Yeah, we don't need jobs though. Like all the government jobs could be replaced right now, and it's totally irrelevant. Most of the like even without AI, and then most other jobs can be replaced by AI. Elon's bringing out all that stuff's gone. Lawyers, doctors, all that's gone. AI can do it 10 times better or 1,000 times better. Elon's bringing out his robot Optimus, which will be able to do any menial tasks, any other jobs we don't want to do. So that will free us to actually do what we can do, which is be creative and be that creative mind, which we are unique to be able to do.
Just on that point, you boys basically challenged me to go away and have a look at an AI video program and have a play and see what it would do.
Mm-hmm.
So I did.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, I got one called InVideo AI, where it basically says, tell it what language you want it in, give it a plot line or a storyline, and let it go. I didn't have to add anything, although I was able to add my voice to it. So I did a voice sample for it, which I'm sure you're going to enjoy. And then it generated this 3-minute video, which I want to play for you, okay? Because I find it quite stunning. Let me tell you what I told it, right? This is what I wanted it to generate. I wanted it to tell a humorous story of 3 wildly rich billionaires, wildly rich beyond anybody on the earth's possible understanding of wealth. Wildly rich. Their names were Ahil Fates, Dr. Gauchi, and a guy called Schlaus Klob.
Are you shitting me?
No, this is the parameters I gave it, right? and that they formed a plot together to thin the herd and depopulate the world while taking control of the world's resources. The plot was discovered and they were arrested and sentenced after a lengthy trial of 3 hours to the death penalty. They were tracked down by a crack squad of people who were answering to the commander-in-chief, a guy named Donald Trump, and let the AI have a go at what. So this is what it came up with. All right, they were the parameters. Mm-hmm. This is what it came up with.
That's funny.
Well, folks, let's talk billionaires.
That's my voice.
Not the boring philanthropic kind. Let's talk about the one. Our story features 3 titans of industry, or should I say titans of iniquity. First up, we have Reginald Rex Richington III, heir to the Richington Robota sweatshop fortune. Then there's Babette Babs Bottom Line, queen of the Bottom Line bankruptcy bazaar. Last, but certainly not least, is Bartholomew Bucks Big Bucks, the Baron of Big Bucks bankrupting banks.
Didn't use me name.
Together, they represent more money than most countries, and significantly less empathy. These 3 weren't content just hoarding wealth like particularly acquisitive dragons. No, they craved more. They yearned for a world where money flowed like water and only they had the buckets. Little did they know, their thirst for power would be their undoing, and the world would throw a party to celebrate. Buckle up, Buttercups, because this is a story about how the mighty fell, and how the rest of us learned to stop worrying and love the schadenfreude. So what was this dastardly scheme that would bring our trio of terrible titans low? It was a plan so ludicrous, so blatantly evil, that you'd almost have to admire its sheer audacity. They called it Project Midas, and the goal was simple: crash the global economy, buy everything for pennies on the dollar, then generously offer loans to the world's governments at, shall we say, competitive interest rates. They were basically holding the world hostage, using poverty as leverage. It was like a villain plot, except with worse dialogue and even less regard for human life. Now you might be thinking, surely someone's... Well, that's where things get interesting. And by interesting, I mean hilariously inept. You see, our billionaire baddies had planned for everything. They had politicians in their pockets, regulators on their payroll, and enough offshore accounts to make a Swiss banker blush. They were untouchable, or so they thought. They forgot one crucial thing: the sheer power of collective annoyance. The downfall of Rex, Babs, and Bucks began, as these things often do, with a disgruntled intern and a misplaced decimal point. Turns out, when you're busy plotting world domination, even basic accounting can seem like a chore. This tiny error, however, snowballed into a mountain of evidence, eventually landing on the desk of a newly formed global task force called, wait for it, the Department of Extreme Wealth Redistribution, or DWR for short. I know they weren't very creative with the name, but they more than made up for it with their commitment to bureaucratic efficiency. The ensuing investigation was a masterpiece of international cooperation and thinly veiled frustration. Turns out, even countries with a long and storied history of corruption and incompetence can get their act together when there's a chance to bring down a few billionaires. Who knew? The arrest of our villainous trio was swift, public, and surprisingly satisfying. One minute they were lounging on their mega yachts, the next they were being fitted for orange jumpsuits. It was like a scene out of a movie, but with less explosions and more awkward silence. The trial was a media circus, a global spectacle unlike anything the world had ever seen. Every news outlet, from CNN to Al Jazeera to that weird website your uncle keeps sharing on Facebook, was glued to the action. The prosecution...
That's frozen.
We're kept in suspense. Cliffhanger.
That is how-
the dog, but the jury wasn't buying it. After weeks of testimony, deliberations lasted a record-breaking 3 hours. The verdict? Guilty on all counts. The sentence? Unprecedented. For their crimes against humanity, Rex, Babs, and Bartholomew were sentenced to, wait for it, public ridicule and the seizure of all their assets. No, seriously, that was it.
Where's the
Turns
fucking
out,
hangings?
The DWR were big believers in the adage that living well is the best revenge. And what could be more satisfying than watching 3 formerly untouchable billionaires reduced to living off the grid, subsisting on ramen noodles and regret?
And that...
The news of the verdict sparked celebrations worldwide.
I've had
People
enough.
danced in the
It just
street.
keeps on going.
I think we've all had enough, haven't we, of that?
That's pretty awesome.
Very clever.
And how long did that take to make? And it was free, probably.
Well, not, I don't know if you can see this or not. The blue writing at the bottom of that page, we can't see it, is all that I gave it. Like it's literally 8 lines.
Yeah, right.
And it's made a 3.5 minute video. And God, the bullshit that comes out of it.
It's quite funny.
But amazing.
And it's meant to be using my voice. It says oh yeah, that's my voice. You know, I got to sample my voice.
Okay.
That's weird. No,
Yeah.
definitely wasn't.
So-
weird.
What, sample?
I didn't actually use my voice. I did a character voice.
Yeah. But it was more like a Flatboy Slim sample sort of thing than a copy of it.
Yeah, what you talking about, Willis? This is amazing technology. It doesn't understand humor yet because I didn't get too many laughs out of it in any way, shape, or form. But I have seen AI demonstrations where it will write you a joke.
Yeah, some of them are funny too. Because it's only mimicking what it reads, like what it looks up.
Yeah.
But look at how far that has come in 12 months, or even less, 6 months. Like 12 months ago is when ChatGPT came out, and like 12 months, look what we're at. What do you think we're going to be in another 5 years? Right?
Yeah,
we're at the Model T4 at the moment.
You were going to say something.
What else did you pick up about that, though? What else did you pick up about that, guys?
Oh, that's politically correct.
It's all fine. It's all left
well, that's
side.
why there was no death penalty at the end. But what about the actual production and the way it was done, and in fact the narration? How many people would have picked that was an AI voice?
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I mean,
you see these sort of videos all over YouTube now. You can pick up because you know what to look for. But
some of them you can pick.
It generated that in 10 minutes. I could make 5 of those an hour and stick them up on the channels, and people will watch them, and it generates an income.
Yeah,
you can put in anything. You can put in anything. You can write a whole assignment for you, and you can put in ideas of how to start like a humanitarian project, and it does everything in categories. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So when ChatGPT first came out, I posed it a question, and I asked it a very simple one: is the Australia Act legal?
Yeah, that's one of my hair.
And the reply, it looks fine. Your hair's straight, no problem.
So when I asked, what happened to my hair? It's right here.
Right. It came back and said, no, the Australia Act is not legal.
Ooh, really?
Now, 4 months later, I asked it exactly the same question. What do you think the response was?
The opposite.
Yep. It was. It is now legal. How did that change when it first said it wasn't, and now it says it is? Of course, we all know that it isn't, but the point was, how did it change? What changed? What were the facts? What made it change its philosophy?
That's why it needs to be
open. ChatGPT.
And if we are going to rely on AI to generate news, for instance, all you need to do is feed it 3 lines. It's going to develop you a 3-minute story out of those. Does that become the news?
You feed him 3 lines, he'll generate a story.
Very true.
Only if he's got the prompt script thing running in front of him, and then it's just make sure he doesn't put the quotes and the full stop in.
And you'll know that it won't be the prompter company that's providing them for Donald Trump at his live events at the moment, because he's not paying them, because they're not doing their job right. He can't read the teleprompters. So in his big one last weekend, his big rally last weekend, he said, I'm not paying these bloody contractors until they can provide me a service that works. He said, but I do good speeches anyway without being able to read the words.
Exactly.
So
better without it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it's quite amazing what AI will do, and it will generate. I haven't learned how to do it yet, but it'll generate me an avatar and have that avatar speak in my voice if I allow it to do that.
Well, I just sent a private chat. Play that thing that I just sent through, Carl. That's of Kate Middleton at the moment. That's a pretty good one that someone's done.
Okay, hang on a moment. View the story, taking its time. Now let me try and share this for a minute. No, I'm not inviting people. I'm sharing. Yeah.
Vince might be able to find the whole lot to it. That's all. If Vince clicks on it.
There you go. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't hear anything.
Yeah, that's it.
I can't hear anything either for some reason.
It has now been over 5
Can you hear
months
that?
and I have not been seen in public. Nor have I been seen with my children, who mean so much to me. The photos and videos that have been released have been AI manipulated, including the audio which you are listening to. Please keep asking questions. Something is not right and you might still be able to help. Thank you. 5th of December 2023. I made my last public appearance with my family at their Sandringham estate in Norfolk, England. It has now been over 5 months and I have not been seen in public, nor have I been seen with my children who mean so much to me. The photos and videos that have been released have been AI manipulated, including the audio which you are listening to. Please keep asking questions. Something is not right and you might still be able to help.
That's pretty good.
Well, this is
Rather-
a challenge that we're all, as various people, truth seekers, people that are looking out there, how are we going to start learning how to discern what is real, what is not?
We'll get to a
You
point
think
where
about that. That is going to be the biggest challenge that's out there.
Well, I think
Which
even
one?
when Kate was sitting on that seat, remember everyone was saying it was AI generated?
Yeah, that was AI generated.
And you
Yeah.
can tell by her voice it was a little robotic, a little bit there.
but-
But
It takes people with equipment and skills to analyze that video, and that video will have gained a lot more traction in the first hour or two, let's say, of its release, than those analyzing it will need 6 hours to analyze it and confirm what they've found and what they think and what they're saying. Some will do it very quickly and say, like the bench, the park bench was 3 different colors. Her jumper was the same one she wore, and the hair was the same as she had years before in some other photo, and yada yada yada. But it takes time to research and get all that done. It's getting less and less, and surely there'll be an AI bot that allows us to go and search those sorts of images that we want of celebrities and royalty, and it will collate that and present it in 5 minutes. I mean, it took literally maybe 10 minutes for that thing to output that file, to generate it. Yeah.
And 9 of those minutes was you downloading it, Carl.
Yeah. Well, touch wood, it's been working all right tonight. So
the point then being that the race is on now with AI technology, and the freedom movement has a unique point in time where if we get on it, we can flood the whole of social media with any messaging we want using AI and actually create change. Get actually a messaging out. Try and get some political parties, political candidates in. Now's the time that a grassroots movement could actually do something.
To some degree, I'd agree with that, but you have to choose which AI you're going to use.
Yeah.
OpenAI may be one of the ones, but
Well,
ChatGPT.
this one supposedly allows me to write a script, but
it doesn't matter.
I couldn't find where I could write a script.
Yeah, and for making those videos and just for flooding social media with our messaging, it doesn't matter. You just get them out there. You can literally. That's what they did back in the 2016 US election. They used Facebook.
Yeah, it depends who's in control of it.
To flood basically all of Facebook with anti-Hillary messaging from WikiLeaks and all that back then. We could do the same thing again now using AI and these tools. Someone can sit down, as Carl said, 10 minutes and make videos.
Yeah.
All freedom
AI
movement.
making people think sunflower.
Yes, okay, but with the freedom movement having so many different ideas and different perspectives on what is and isn't true, where and who controls that? Or do we just let everyone go for hell for leather? And that raises a question.
I agree, but I would then suggest pick your battles. So pick a few really good topics, the ones which are going to hit mainstream, because we've got to get most of society on board, so not just the fringe elements. So go for like the housing crisis, immigration, and then the other big one is, okay, we're not going to have, it's pretty obvious now, we're not going to have jobs. So how are we going to actually earn an income? The best argument I've heard is by
basic income, mate.
Well, who pays for that? So the best way I've heard is rather than a basic income is a passive income, where at the moment for AI to run, the lifeblood of AI is data. And at the moment, we give away all of our data. What we should do is we should own all of our data. And if anyone wants to use it, you either have the choice to sell it to them or not. But if we sell it to them, then we are paid a royalty, and that would be a passive income that then society would be able to live off because everybody's using using their data, so selling their data. And that way it actually economically works rather than a basic income, which doesn't work because then you're just printing money out of nothing.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. It's an interesting model. Go on, Vince.
So in perspective, though, there is the other option that goes with that. I mean, that's great for us and whatever, but then that follows the lead into the fact, why do we even need to be here? Hence bird flu and another jibby jab and 5G and whatever, because if everything's automated, you only need a few slaves to fix the occasional repair. You know?
Yeah, but we're creators. We're the creators.
That's
we create.
right.
We can have come up with original thoughts.
AI can't do that.
Yeah.
It can mimic.
Debate that one. I would debate that one. They've now got AIs that will do original artist pieces. You don't even have to specify. You just say, create the art, and it does.
But and it's mimicking. So it's the same as the language models. It looks, okay, what's the most like this? If I look back at all of the data, if these words happen, the next one should be this. The next one should be that. It's guessing. The same with art. It's just guessing. Okay, and I look at all these different art pieces. This is what should happen. That's not creativity.
You've never seen it come up with an original artistic thought, like a thing in art we've never seen before. You've never seen that from an AI. You just see something that looks like a Van Gogh, it looks like a Monet,
I've actually seen photos created by AI that are totally 100% unique.
Artificial.
But they got their ideas
generated. And I mean, you guys are in crypto, you should have seen them. So,
I've seen all this stuff, but what I'm talking about, as I said, we're talking about, our art maybe not a great example though, but we're using it's problem solving. It's to be able to come up. That's where humans are unique. We have an ability to problem solve. AI
quantum computing though comes into play here.
But it can't come up with unique programming ideas. That's where we come.
According to quantum computing, right? Quantum computing gives you if you pose it a problem, it gives you every possible solution to that problem at the same time because of the way quantum works. So, I mean, theoretically, if it can solve a problem, it should also be able to create.
Be aware of it. Yep. Okay. But now we're getting really lost into the weeds. So how about we go stick with a bit bigger picture and stick with the political thing? Let's just try and solve one thing at a time. Let's get this cabal off our backs, the royal death racket, whatever you want to call it. Let's get them off our backs and just get to a more freer society. If we can get to that, what are people going to do? They're going to be naturally just following their passion, and people are going to be doing whatever they find interesting. The cabal
killer's claw.
That will be the art, the culture,
we will then, we need to be sort of getting out into the star. Elon's dream. We go to Mars. We start going into this, further and further. For that, we need more and more people. So, we just the cabal. Let's hope the white hats take all that, and we're going through a process. We have to do it though, and the way to do it is start making a political movement, start demanding these changes, or at least start making society aware of what's going on. Like the housing crisis is undeniable at the moment. That's a no-brainer for a political party at the moment.
Which is caused by immigration.
By mass immigration. And why are they doing mass immigration? Because they're broke and they're bringing in money. Okay, because we print too much money and we need to change our economic model and our system, which we know all of that. But to bring all of that in, we need to control the political parties. And to do that, we need to control social media. And you do that through these AI tools.
Yep. Beck, got anything to say on that?
I think AI is full of shit. I don't like it. Don't like it. Don't believe in it at all.
I remember people said that about computers, the internet, mobile phones, smartphones.
Yeah, I don't even believe in that shit. I think we need to go back to grassroots. I'm all about that. I'm all about bartering, not working for money, helping each other out like we used to do. So
ideally,
the genie's out of the bottle.
But we've got to
But we do need to use the tools
Well, we do
are
at the
around
moment
with
for
the
our
battle.
advantage, 100%. I do agree with
Yeah.
you there, but I'm not going to rely. Yeah, no, I don't.
Well, what
like
happens when all this abundance comes our way? Money isn't a thing, and therefore you will essentially be able to do whatever the hell it is you want to go and do.
Yeah.
What would you go and do, Beck?
Me? Oh,
Yeah.
I would do heaps. I would get a big ranch, or I would go help the elderly. I would. There's so much you can do.
Well, the
You
elderly
can
will,
do veggie
will
patches
have
to
their
manage
abundance
work.
as well.
You can go visit people, communicate with people. You can live a
Which is
beautiful
what most
life.
people would do, is they would contribute to society, because that's where you get
and
your
those,
fulfillment from.
and those who don't contribute can go and be a slave with all the AI bots or whatever.
If they want to. But if
Whatever.
people, if they want to go off and play video games for the rest of life, let them. Whatever, that's okay. Everyone's unique and it's on part of the creation.
Well,
whatever.
that
But
leads me
most
to the
people get
next
fulfillment by
trap.
contributing to something, and it's contributing to your community. And that's
You talk
where
about going and playing video games, but we would be encouraged in this model to play games like Second
Hide and
Avatar
seek.
and live an online, which is happening now already. But with this kind of consciousness uploading and all that sort of stuff that it goes on with drones, it's just another programming step, isn't it? Video games, living Second Life online, upload your consciousness, become that person.
Where's Wally?
It's an interesting book.
Or Wally, whatever it was, the robot and all the people on their couches in cartoon.
Yeah.
What brings up the other interesting philosophical question, like Elon, a lot of people have all been talking about whether this is actually a simulation. And I think Elon said the chances of base reality is 1 billion to 1. So what if we could hack the simulation? Is that where we're heading? I don't know.
And the Matrix is born.
You can't even think of that, can you? Wow.
Well, that brings us back to the whole remote viewing and that sort of realm.
Quantum realm.
It's
What if you could hack the quantum and all of a sudden then you could go and witness the pyramids being built or anything, time and place in history in the universe?
Or the future.
Because everything is connected. Because that's how, again, in quantum physics, it's entanglement. So if you entangle two particles, whatever you do to one instantaneously happens to the other. Now, I don't know, but if the Big Bang theory is true, that means that at one point all things were one, or all things were entangled. So that means that within every particle there is the entire framework or hologram of the entire universe. So that's how entanglement should work, that if you have access to that, then you have access to the entire universe, all time and history.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? It's a big one, eh?
We're a quantum age, I should say. We've left the industrial
timey-wimey stuff.
Timey-wimey stuff. Timey-wimey stuff, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a show on Netflix. Was it Netflix?
No, on Apple TV.
Called Dark Matter.
Dark Matter, yeah.
Dark Matter, yeah.
You've seen that one? Yeah. And
I haven't seen that one.
So again, it's exploring this sort of quantum world and this superposition and the multiple universe aspects sort of thing, sliding doors or whatever, that sort of aspect. So yeah, very good.
Doors that were actually controlled by the thought process as you were opening the door.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
exactly. Very interesting philosophy and
which is all about frequency, isn't it? It's all about that frequency.
Well, that one, yeah.
Well,
that raises a whole other thing. Frequency.
Yeah.
But we've learned a lot about frequencies over the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
And what's good and what's bad. And every, once again, going into quantum physics, each supposed universe or multiverse, etc., runs on a slightly different quantum frequency.
Yep, exactly. So, I mean,
the, 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 the,
with that,
as you can see, I like my sci-fi because you can see my back picture. But
sorry, Vince, with that dark matter, as you're saying, it's his intention basically when he's opening the door, whatever intention you have, and that in physics it's called the observer effect, and they
correct.
Yeah, and that's what way back they discovered that. Well, hang on a minute, that's what I'm saying. That we are the ones who collapse the wave of possibility into the three dimensions, and it's done through intention.
The Matrix,
There's
here
so
we
much
come.
that we can do. Sorry, go.
Oh, the Matrix, here we come. I hope so. I hope I can wear those black leathers like Trinity and meet my Neo. And
Well, again, I hate to say it, like people are going to hate me, but Elon's Neuralink is exactly that. You'll be able to download stuff into your brain. You won't have to sit there and learn something. It will be downloaded
as well.
Again, it's a tool, so you can
knowledge basically.
Yeah, a tool could be used for good or bad. So it's up to us now to decide now who is in control. Do we let the cabal be in control, or do we change the regime and push us into an enlightened?
But see, as smart people, we would be clever enough to, we've got these tools that we can use, but we also need to have alternatives that they don't use, right? One of their tools that they can use against us is food. So us going back to the basics and producing our own food, that's a weapon against them, as well as we could use the AI programs this is how you make a garden. Boom, boom. Yeah. Instead of spending 25 hours producing an hour-long video on how to start to make a garden, you can get the AI to do it for you in 3 minutes, and you can spend the other 25 hours out actually building your garden.
Yep. That's it.
Right. So working smarter, not harder.
Yep.
Well, I don't know if you're building your garden, you're working hard, but yeah.
I can see you leading a production meeting next week for FBN Media, mate. With that sort of
right.
One of the things
I'll just hand it over to the AI and let it do it, mate.
Might be the way to do it. All right, lovely people. Unless you've got anything to add, I think we might just leave the folks for a Friday night. We've been going 90 minutes, and I've got a bit of work to get Bob's interview sorted so that I can get that up for you tomorrow. Beck, thank you for joining us. Do you want to give Truth Seekers a bit of a plug? What do you got coming up?
We've got SG coming up on Monday, I think, or tomorrow. I'm not sure. He had to cancel again due to some private documents coming through. And then we've got Kerry Cassidy coming up, and then a whole
Kerry's
heap
the
of
lady from Project Camelot that we were talking about after the Pascal interview. A lot of people here watched that interview with her. They all seem to have a very similar opinion of her style. How are you going to approach that? Are you going to talk style, or are you just going to talk?
Just going to let her talk her shit, really. She's a hard woman. She's a very hard woman. So I have to research a lot into this interview. But I'm really interested in the Pascal Najati. I've got the Five Sisters calling me on a messenger.
Oh, right.
I've got the Five Sisters podcast that's coming up as well. We're a little bit behind due to Doris's father passing away and a few other issues that we've had. And just Craig Cole, Leave the Kids Alone. So,
so people who want to go and check out that website, Leave the Kids with a Z, KIDZ, alone.org.
Yeah.
And drop them a line, let them know. We'd love to get Craig up in our part of the world for a while too. There's plenty of interest in Queensland for this sort of thing, and in New South Wales, and I suspect in South Australia too, Vince. So I don't know. We've got to get Craig on the road too, by the sound of it.
Yeah, well, if people wish to, or they can't remember the website, they can always jump onto our website because we have a link to it from there.
Yeah.
VOFHQ.com.
Leave our kids.
And please, before we disappear, please, we are really looking for members, and we are really looking for donations. Otherwise, what we're going to see is we're going to have a head of a cow and then a very, very thin body that's coming because he won't even be
That's
able
not
to
such
eat.
a bad thing.
Just got a few months to go.
So,
do you want to know?
for any,
Do you
for
want to know
any
what
of
I
those
have
there-
here to eat?
truth
I mean,
seekers-
this is just going to be funny. I'll tell you what I have here to eat. I have a packet of Sayos.
I
and
have to go, Carl. I have to go, everybody. I've got an urgent
All right,
call.
Beck.
Thank you.
Love you
See
all.
you guys.
See ya. A packet of Sayos and 3 semi-stale muffins, Old English muffins.
Yeah, I'll just
And
chuck right?
some egg. Yeah, they'll go on the toaster. They'll be fine. I'm up for that. There might be 2 4-day-old crumpets still around too, which I might be able to make some use out of.
Bit of crumpet.
And do you want to know the stupid thing? The fire, the magnificent fire that I created, which seems to have gone out now, was I thought, wouldn't it be great? A few sausages, and I've prepared the fire beautifully. If I can bring it up again and show you. Don't know that you can actually see it in here, but underneath that pile of smoky flaming brilliance are some traditional Aboriginal cooking stones, meaning flat rocks that you heat up and you can cook stuff on. This was the second attempt, because the first attempt at my traditional Aboriginal cooking stones turned out to be volcanic, and they explode when they get hot. Who knew?
Oh, no.
Pop rocks. I remember them.
Yeah, real pop rocks. I mean, bouncing off the bus.
God.
Yeah, and I'm at least 5 meters away from the bus. So there was a fair bouncing going on. However, I thought, well, by the time the hot rocks are hot, I'll be able to, put a bit of foil on them and throw on a sausage and do the show from out around the fire. Right. And then at about 5:45, when I was getting the show and sending everybody's invites out, it dawned on me that I hadn't been into town yet to get the sausages or anything else to put on it. So, yeah. Anyway, it's a good fire. I'm trying to build it up. The hot rocks will work out eventually, I'm sure. But that's the first fire in my pit, so to speak. And I'm quite proud.
There's this thing called a barbecue grill you can put on.
Yeah, but where's the fun in that? I mean, if you're going to live in the bush, you're going to have to grow a beard, which I can partly do. Okay. I mean, I can't grow a Noah beard, but got to grow a beard. You've got to be prepared to go a day or two without a shower. Although there is a shower just up here I can go and use it on a daily basis, but I don't go and do too much. So there is the smell of smoke, I guess, is probably the wild one. Tonight, with a door gap in the bus and none of the windows open, just the door open, the wind was still able to blow the smoke directly into the bus. So now everything smells smoky. Nice. However, that's part of the fun of camping out, and there's nothing better. I don't know about you guys, but I love sitting around a fire, toasting marshmallows, as J1 says, and just looking at the burning embers of the coal. I mean, many a man has come up with $1 million idea while staring into a fire.
If you ever get a chance, you might get one of your sausages. Get yourself a banana, take out the banana, put the sausage in the banana skin, put that in a bit of alcohol, and put that in the fire. It's very, very
What
nice.
raving lunacy is this?
Banana sausages.
Banana sausages.
You cook the sausage inside the banana skin. Yeah.
And do you eat the banana skin?
No.
No. It's a shame. All the juices, all the yummy juices would be on them.
Yeah. So it's just something to try.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you tried that, or are you just making this shit up before you go away for the weekend?
You're a man of experience.
No, I've actually done that. I did that when I was in the Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah. Very nice.
Is that because Kayla had forgotten the tomato sauce that weekend, or?
Yeah, probably.
Does the banana skin stop it from going charcoaly?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's sort of steam cooks it, but you got the flavour that comes through it as well because you've wrapped it in alcohol, so it's not going to get burnt. So
yeah, right. I like it. I'm going to try that. It sounds great.
Okay. An AI fire would remove the possibility of getting stinging smoke in your eyes and making all your clothes smell badly. AI fire
well done, Sovereign Joe.
AR probably.
Yeah. And Angie's right. Charcoal is very, very good for you. Why is that? Well, why do they put it in filters? Because it takes out all the shit. So, charcoal is exceptionally good for you. And I might even be able to go and chew on a bit tomorrow when it cools down. Don't think it'll help the teeth too much, but we'll see what happens. Oh, hang on. Margot suggests banana and chocolate on the sausage.
Yeah.
Or on the fire.
On the fire.
That'd be interesting. Chocolate
and
sausage.
someone else says, I'm trying to slip my sausage into a banana.
That sounds very gay, actually.
That would read very bad in the transcript.
That's going to read very badly in the transcript. Go and AI that.
Oh, no. I just don't get it. Sorry.
And on that very bad note.
So one of the things that I did figure out over the weekend that people were missing on how to actually hit the donate button on our website is because they would put their mouse over it and then click on the next link down. So I've removed the next link down. There's now just donate. So if they want to click that button, they can, and they can donate. It's a lot easier to find. And thanks to one of our lovely ladies down here who contacted me about that.
No, banana sausages are a thing, just like orange skin rissoles.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, there's another thought. That's a good idea.
I am going to get rissoles tomorrow. I'm going to make my own rissoles.
You said you're doing a cooking show. Are you still doing that?
If I can find the appropriate ingredients for that, yes. I haven't been to the shop. I think I've probably got to go to the Gold Coast to a bigger shop to get the ingredients for that particular cook. But I can do orange skin rissoles, and I may even try a banana in a sausage and banana skin and see how that comes up. I have never, ever heard of orange skin rissoles, but I've got to say, mouth is watering just a little bit.
Likewise, I'm getting hungry
at the thought of it.
Yeah,
so
me too. I think we better finish this show because I think we've all got to go eat.
It's blowing my mind. I don't.
What was that?
My butcher's closed, and I think the supermarket probably will be by the time I get in there too. So it won't be happening for me tonight. But I'm very keen to give the orange skin rissoles a go.
Yeah,
and I've got just the oranges here for it too. Got some beautiful oranges here at the moment, and pears. God, are you guys eating fruit? Doing your fruits daily? Doing all your right thing?
I'm actually carnivore diet at the moment, so I'm eating one meal a day, and it's meat.
Oof, I'm a meat man.
I think I've slipped into one of these multiverse things because you guys are talking about banana sausages and orange skin rissoles, and it's blowing my mind.
Apparently, Chris, aside from being an expert on everything else, an expert on orange drawn straight from the skin, mix it with the mince. The after flavour on the roof of the mouth palate is delightful. There you go. I was going to put my mince in orange skins and cook them in that. Is that not what you're meant to do?
Well, that's another way, yeah.
Well, it'll be a novel cooking show when I get it on it. It'll be a novel cooking show.
Yeah. Anything can happen on this show, guys. This is why we have a Friday night.
Yeah, free for all.
Yeah. I think Ads has got the right idea. A banana split with ice cream out near the fire where you can get warm and get cold at the same time. So
has that got sausage with it?
Except that you predicted all the cold weather for down south. right? Notice I'm rugged to the
Yeah,
point
yeah.
I've actually bought gloves, mate. It's getting
Oh,
that cold.
wow. Is it that cold?
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're off the coast, although you are on the water. You're right beside the Murray River.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not quite that cold in Queensland, although I'm surprised you've got, was that gloves you were showing there, Bradford?
No, that's my beanie. I was going to say you could borrow my beanie.
Oh, yeah. Well, so are you finding it beanie weather, are you? Being a Canberra?
Yeah, in the mornings.
Yeah,
Plus, I got so it gets a bit cold and a little bit here. But yeah, in the mornings, I've got my beanie on, and I actually go for a walk sometimes in my dressing gown. It's that cold. It's not like, sees me just walking around the estate.
Oh, yeah. And the people who are staying in the Airbnb over the weekend, I don't mind him. He's just the lonely old man, the owner. He just walks around. You've got to watch him around the pool when he's got the strainer out, getting all the leaves out, because sometimes his knackers fall out. So.
In the summer.
Yeah, only in the summer. Gentlemen, have yourself a great weekend. I hope it all goes magnificently well for you all, and look forward to talking again soon. Thank you, Vince, for everything you do for us.
Thanks, Vince.
All right.
See you
guys.
See you guys. See you, Bradford. See you, Ross.
Galactic Larrikins and Vince be gone, and they are. Thank you, folks, for joining us tonight. It's been a little bit of a long one, and I apologise for the muck-up with Bob. I'll go to work now trying to fix that, and I'll have it for you over the weekend. The aim is to have it up tomorrow morning, and it is a very interesting chat indeed. So look forward to bringing that one to you tomorrow, and all things being equal in a beautiful world, might see you again on Sunday with some news of some other things that are happening. Thank you to everybody who has thrown a donation into the chat rooms tonight. And for those who've contributed, it really is a truly magnificent family that we have here in the Voice of Freedom chat room. And we've got three wonderful moderators who look after it beautifully. Not that they've really got to do much. Tonight, we've got a couple of trolls in. And they're always welcome until they start getting personal or stupid. You're always welcome, and I enjoy it. It's an interesting spar, but only if you're an interesting troll and can actually spar. Didn't see too much of that tonight, but thank you for coming and joining us. We must be doing something right if you turds are turning up. Be careful on the roads, folks. It's going to be a busy weekend, and you know where the dickheads go on the weekend? Usually in front of, behind, or beside you. It's a tragedy of how the roads work today.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!